Good morning, students. It's morning math with Miss Maza and
Lennon.
How are y'all doing today? We have made it to Friday.
Friday.
All right. So today we are actually going to use our whole standard of using place value to round whole numbers to the nearest 10 or 100. Today we're going to stick with just the nearest 10, okay? We're just taking these morning maths with Miss Maza and Lennon, just slow, just little reviews, okay? All right, so I can round to the nearest 10 is what's going to be our statement today. All right, so let's count off our place values from 1s to 100. It's 1s, 10s, 100s, right? Remember that? Good job. All right, so we're going to work on rounding some numbers. First of all, we got some rules to follow. The first thing we need to do is to find the place value that we're going to round to for the problem. Miss Maza likes to underline that number, and I'm going to model this for you. There's lots of rules. Don't worry, we're going to do it. Okay, I like to underline that number. Then I look next door to the right of it. Miss Maza circles that. For just the 10s, it's not going to be a big deal, but when our numbers get bigger and we're doing different place values, it might matter some, okay? Then we're going to decide that if the number to the right, the one that I circled, if it's 4 or less, we're going to let it rest. So if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, we're going to let the number we underlined, we're going to let it rest, meaning we're going to let it stay the same, okay? But if the number that I circled, the one that's to the right of the one we're looking to round, if it is 5 or more, we're going to add one more. So if it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, the number we circled is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then we're going to add one more. All right. Then if our numbers has any numbers to the left of the one that we underline, they stay the same. And our numbers to the right, 0 is going to be their name. So those are the rules that we're going to follow. We're just going to do a couple today. We're just going to start getting some practice, okay? So our first one is 86. It tells us to round the number to the nearest 10. So we're going to take 86 and round it to the nearest 10. All right, so Miss Maze is going to write 86 on my board, okay? There's my 86. All right, so the first thing I need to do is to find the place value of the number that we're rounding to. It says we're rounding to the 10. So which number is in the 10s place? The 6 or the 8? Let's look. 1s, 10s. So I'm going to underline that, okay? These are just some things that Miss Maza does to make it easier to remember, okay? All right. Then it says that we're going to look next door. We're going to look to the right. Look at its neighbor on the right, okay? Miss Maza likes to circle it, and I always draw a little arrow to it because I'm letting myself know that this number is telling this number what to do. Okay? All right. All right, so our next one says if the number to the right is 4 or less, we're going to let it rest. So if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's going to stay the same. So I wrote that right here. So is a 6 fall in the 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4? Is a 6 a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4? Nope, so if it's not, we got to go to the next step, okay? All right, and our next step tells us that if the number to the right is 5 or more, meaning it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then we have to add one more to the number that we underline. So is a 6 fall in the category of 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9?
Yes.
Yes, so then we have to add one more to the number we underline. So what is one more than 8?
9.
9. All right. So our next step tells us that if there's any numbers to the left, we have them stay the same. But we don't have any numbers to the left today, do we? No, we don't. And then it tells us that the numbers to the right become 0 is their name. So that 6 is to the right and 0 is going to be its name. So rounding to the nearest 10, 86, rounding 86 to the nearest 10, rounds to 90. Okay? Good job.
Actually, if like 6 or 8 or like actual people, isn't true for real people because the older one tells the youngest one what to do.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to round to the nearest 10, the number 78. All right, we have the number 78. So which number is in the tens place? That is our first step, is to find the place value that we are rounding to and underline it. Is the 8 or the 7 in the tens place? The 8 or the 7 in the tens place? The 8 or the 7, which one's in the tens place?
7.
The 7, very good. This is ones, tens. He wasn't getting that. I was trying to get him to tell me the answer.
But you were talking to people that are watching.
All right, then we have to look next door. We move one to the right. We're going to circle it. And Miss Maza draws an arrow because this one that I circled is telling this one what to do. All right, so our next step is to see if the number that we circled, is it 4 or less? Is a 8 4 or less? Is it a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4? No, it's not. So we go to the next step that says if it's 5 or more, we add one more. Does 8 fall in this group of 5 or more? Look there, it does. So we've got to add one more. What's one more than 8?
9.
9. Up. Miss Maza did it wrong. Not one more than 8, one more than 7. I'm looking at my thing backwards. So what's one more than 7?
8.
8. So our 7 becomes an 8. All right. This number's telling this one what to do. Miss Maza's looking at her board backwards here. All right. So the numbers to the left stay the same, but we don't have any to the left. And what happens to the ones to the right? They become a 0. Okay. So let's review that one more time since Miss Maza made a boo-boo looking at this backwards. So what I did, we're rounding 78 to the tens place. We find the number that's in the tens place. Ones, tens. So we underlined the 7. Okay? Then we took and we circled the number to the right because it's going to tell the 7 what to do. Okay? Then we decide, is the 8 fall in the 0 to 4? No. Does it fall between the 5 and the 9? Yes. So this group right here, if it's 5 or more, we add one more. So the 7 goes up to an 8, becomes the 7, add one more to the, and it becomes an 8. The numbers to the left would stay the same. The number to the right zeroes their name. So 78 rounds to 80. All right. So now here's a problem for your homework this weekend, is to round the number to the nearest 10, round 76 to the nearest 10. And guys, we do these videos live because I want them to be real. Y'all know Miss Maza might make a mistake in the classroom. So I want to keep these live. We do these, what happens just kind of happens, okay? All right, so that's just how we're going to do them. All right, so for that part of our lesson, did we round to the nearest 10 or 100? Yes, we did. We rounded to the nearest 10. Now, let's look at our problem that we had yesterday that I gave you. We said that Lennon baked 4 pans of chocolate chip cookies, and they were really, really good. All right, each pan contained 12 cookies, so how many cookies did Lennon bake in all? So I drew 4 pans because my important information was that we had 4 pans, that there was 12 cookies in each pan, and I needed to know how many in all. Okay, that's my important information you should have underlined. So I drew 4 pans, and I drew 12 cookies in each pan. That's kind of how we actually did them, was in 4 rows of 3. Or I could have drawn an array with 4 rows, 1 row for each pan, and put 12 in each row. All right, so when I solved those, added those up, or if I know my multiplication fact, that's 4 groups of 12, I find that those are 48, okay? So Lennon baked 48 cookies. I know this because 4 times 12 equals 48. I drew 4 groups. I drew 4 groups with 12 in each group, or you could have said I drew an array of 4 rows with 12 in each row. The total is 48 because 4 times 12 equals 48. All right, now the last couple days I've forgotten to put our little activity up, that our little fun activity, but they are on the teacher page, so if you're watching this, you can see those on there. I've forgotten to do those, but I am looking for the pictures that you're drawing. Here's an interesting one. I want you to Google there or look up, have your parents find you a picture of Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is a mountain that has 4 faces carved into it. Now here's your challenge. I want y'all to message me, have your parents email me or send it to the dojo. What 4 faces are on Mount Rushmore? They're carved like in stone or rock. Look that up. So what I want you to do is create your own version of Mount Rushmore. Who are the 4 faces that you would carve into the mountain? So draw me a picture of how you would carve out Mount Rushmore with the 4 faces that you would put on it, and let me know who those faces are. Okay. All right. So guys, we've had a good day. I can't wait till Monday morning math with Miss Maza and Lennon. But until then, y'all have a good weekend. And Lennon's gonna close us out with a joke.
Why did the eyeball cross the road?
Why?
Because he had to go to the eye doctor.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, guys, you be safe out there. Keep your 6-foot distance. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Sanitize. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. And we don't have a problem for this weekend. We didn't do an extra word problem. I'm going to give you the weekend off. But be sure that your parents are emailing me or dojoing the things that we do. All right. So y'all have a good one, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Bye.